Hello and welcome to the Cal Coast Financial Education Series. I'm Chase Peckham, Director of the Community Outreach and Education at the San Diego Financial Literacy Center, a proud partner of Cal Coast Credit Union. And I am here with Steve Volley. He's the Vice President of Real Estate Lending at California Coast Credit Union. And you know, Steve, the median price of the new home in San Diego County is right around $535,000 here in San Diego. And being on the West Coast and the coasts, they tend to be a little bit more expensive. And I know that the American dream is obviously to own a home, have the white picket fence and those kinds of things. But most people, when they're going through that process, you know, it can be overwhelming to think, where do I start? So give us an idea, where should someone start when they're looking for that first home?
Well, that's a great question. At California Coast, one of the first things that we try and assist with our potential home buyers is understanding what they're trying to accomplish through a purchase. One of the first things we'll ask them is, what are they looking to buy? Do they know what type of housing they're trying to get into? Because knowing what type of housing they're looking to purchase will help set the price and the expectation for any loan that they're looking to acquire. And in doing that, when we're looking at property, they may want to be a home buyer that is looking for a house with a yard. They're into working, mowing a lawn. Others have no interest in managing a property. They want to be able to turn the key and go, and maybe the condominium where an association takes care of the maintenance of the property is a better use for their time and their money.
So let's go on that first topic. How do they come to a conclusion of what it is they want to buy and what it is that they versus what they think they can afford or own? Great
question. So that's the first thing that most borrowers come to us and say is, I want to buy a house. And we say, great, what do you want to buy? And they say, well, what can I afford? So it's a little chicken and the egg scenario with respect to how to address this with the borrowers. And so we kind of coach them as to what are they looking for? Do they need a large house or a small house? Do they have a large family? That sets the price range. So based on the information they give us on the property, we're able to establish a relative purchase price. From there, then, we kind of give them basic information about monthly payment with homeowners insurance and property taxes, and generally that's the first indication to them that their expectations of what they can buy relative to their purchasing power goes out the window. And there's a recalibration of maybe that big house on the beach is not the reasonable place to start when looking at a first-time home purchase.
And I would guess that taking into other considerations of schools and depending on where you are in life, I would imagine as well. So I know that there are probably lots of different loan programs. How do people know what is the right one for them?
Well, it's a great question because that's the key. Anytime you talk about first-time home buying, the biggest obstacle, particularly in the San Diego market, is a down payment. Down payment is a key for affordability. Obviously, the more money you put down, the less money you have to borrow. In many cases, there's a combination of both. At California Coast Credit Union, we do have a no down payment loan, but you're still required to have some funds to close to make the purchase. But initially, when we talk to borrowers, we may tell them that their proposed housing payment for the property they're looking to purchase is, say, $2,000. And for some of them that are trying to go from a rental payment to a house payment, that may be above what they're looking to pay. So we have to calculate that back to what their budget and what they want to do. So if they want to buy a condominium and the starting point is $400,000, well, in many programs, the minimum down payment is predicated by the purchase price. So the minimum down payment that we have currently is a 3% down payment. So depending on their budget, depending on their savings, that's the first place to start is what do they have to contribute to the transaction.
And then you talk about different markets, and if people have been renting, the idea of a lot of people say, well, is it affordable to buy a home versus what I'm renting? And sometimes, in a lot of cases, it can be.
It can be, absolutely. With current rents going up, one of the chief reasons that folks come to the credit union looking to purchase is to stabilize their housing payment. The rental market is very tight, and with a low inventory of home sales,
Home sales. Yeah.
home sales or purchase or houses on the market, rents are going up. So many times landlords have the ability to raise rents, and our members and our citizens are required to just deal with the higher rent payments. So buying a house helps in many ways. It can help stabilize a housing payment for the long term, depending on the financing that the borrowers choose.
So with a typical loan, when you're buying a home being 30 years, you can be fairly confident, not just fairly confident, very confident that that $2,000 a month payment is going to stay there no matter how all the rest of the markets are going up or going down.
Correct. And it's one of the ways that if you look at the after-tax benefits of owning a house, you may actually have only a slight increase in your housing payment relative to the after-tax consequences. So we try and educate them a little bit with respect to, if you look at a rent payment of say $1,500 or $1,800 and a proposed housing payment of $2,000, while that increase is higher, the after-tax increase may not be as much as the actual payment. So there's many advantages to home purchase.
So first thing they need to do is they just need to call you at CalCoast Credit Union and find out what it is that they need to do to get this process started, because it is not a slow process.
Yeah. No, buying a house is the single largest investment any home buyer is going to, or citizen is going to make in their lifetimes. They need to get educated as to what their options are, and knowing what a housing payment can mean to their current budget relative to what they're paying in rent is the place to start.
And when you get there and they know now at this point what it is that they're going to spend, what kind of loan they can get, then they can really go shopping for what it is they're looking for.
Correct. Once we've gone through the exercise of understanding what their debt load is, what their down payment is, what the loan options are available to them, then we recommend that they get pre-approved, and we will actually give them a commitment to borrow money, which will then be something they can take to a realtor that demonstrates that they're pre-approved for a loan. And in this market, getting pre-approved is invaluable, demonstrating to a potential seller that they've already gone through the process, and when they submit an offer, that they're a bona fide buyer.
And that is where you need to be. So you need to go to calcoastcu.org, or you can call 877-495-1600. That number again, 877-495-1600. Steve Volley, thank you very much, and stay tuned for our next California Coast Financial Education Series.